ọ̀rẹ́ kí ló ṣe ọ́ tó ń fapá jánu.
koríko ló kún oko pákí àtàgbàdo mi yìí bí mo ṣe ń tú koríko kan bí ìgbà tí méjì tún wò padà ni.
ìyẹn kì í ṣèṣòro rárá làgọ́n máa yanjú wọn.
làgọ́n bíi ti bó.
làgọ́n jẹ́ oògùn apakòríko nínú oko pákí àti àgbàdo ó sì máa ń yọ àgbẹ̀ nínú wàhálà àti máa roko nígbà gbogbo. fọ́n làgọ́n sí oko rẹ ní kété tàbí lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ kan tí o bá ti gbin pákí àtàgbàdo rẹ kí o wá jẹ gbádùn bí bọ́ lọ́wọ́ koríko. owó tí à ń ta làgọ́n ò fani lápòyá o kò sì ní atrazine nínú ó sì rọrùn láti lò pẹ̀lú ìdáàbòbò tó péye. Bayer Middle Africa Limited ló ń pín tó sì ń ta làgọ́n jákèjádò Nàìjíríà. Bayer ìmọ̀ sáyẹ́ǹsì fún ọjọ́ ọ̀la tó dára.
Splash FM.
APC. In the past, we've had people move from APC to PDP. Now, those movements have not allowed us to establish democratic norms and structures that will make democracy stable. If you look at other climes where democracy is stable and where development in the economy and in the polity is going on very well, you will see very clearly that people remain in one political party throughout their lives because political parties are
it's like a culture.
They are not just identity and cultures. They are values. What you believe in. You are in a political party because the political party will do A, B, C, D. So when you now begin to move from one party to another, what are you telling the public? And quickly, let me add that if you look at what has happened in the last 100 or so years in the world has moved very fast because of...
All right, so you just listened to the voice of Honorable Remande Kwewum Shawalu, who sponsored or is sponsoring the bill, seeking that presidents, governors and their deputies should lose their seats should they defect from the political party on which they sought those offices in the first place. But that's not the only thing that he spoke to. Here are his thoughts as far as independent candidacy or candidature is concerned in Nigeria. Take a listen.
Yeah, and there are also a few private member bills dealing with the issue of independent candidature. At the retreat we held not long ago, that issue came up for canvass, and the views were divided in the committee. But many people like me are of the opinion that we should allow independent candidature. And the complaint of those who are against it is that if you allow independent candidature, people, literally hundreds of people may want to contest and so forth. But there's what we also think that could happen is you don't just say political parties have to fulfill certain requirements before the contest. So if an individual wants to contest election, there are certain requirements that INEC can set forth for him to contest. There are thresholds in the United States, for instance, that enables people to say, like Roche Perot a few years ago, who came into the ballot because he fulfilled certain conditions. We are arguing that, for instance, that it's possible to say, if you can garner signatures of voters, a certain percentage of voters, you could then be able to contest election. In that way, only very serious people who want to contest election will contest. If you, for instance, require that 1/3 of, like my constituency, there are 400,000 voters. If you require that for me to be on the ballot as an independent candidate, I should get signatures of registered voters, a quarter, or get 1/5, because 1/5 is really large. 1/5 of the people who are registered voters. There's no person who is not serious that will go to the whole hall, going from village to village, asking people to endorse him. So I think that it's possible to do, like I think they say India and the United States, where certain thresholds, where certain requirements are made, so that when people want to contest election, as independent candidate will not be for just anyone coming up to say he wants to contest. If we do.
All right, so some suggestions there. At least he gave his thoughts as to how he thinks that should go. And you've heard that. He listed that he is in support of independent candidacy himself and some other representatives in the House of Representatives. And he also kind of suggested a way that it can be done to make sure that it's not an all-comers affair. Tom, Dick, and Harry doesn't just decide because independent candidature is a thing, and then everybody just wants to be president or wants to be governor or wants to be a senator. He put out or suggested ways that can reduce the numbers to considerable figures that we can work with. And just so you know, independent candidature is a thing that's found all around the world, from the Americas to Asia to Europe. It is something that has worked in other climes. So, can it work? Are we ripe for it? Do you agree with the honorable member that this is something that we should be looking to? Well, to have that conversation, I'm going to be reaching out to my guest for today, Toba, who is himself no stranger to our show here, to pick his brain on this topic. Is Nigeria ready for independent candidature? And if the answer is yes, how do we go about it? But what I'm most interested in finding out is, does that lie? Is that where the solution lies for all the problems we see with electioneering as we have them to date? Good morning, Toba, and thank you so much for joining us again today.
Good morning. Good morning, Charity. Good morning to our esteemed listener too.
Absolutely. I would have done a bit of a banter with you concerning how the match went yesterday, but we don't have time. So I know that you were supporting England and England lost. So sorry, Bele.
Thank you.
Let's leave it there. And to the conversation for this morning, Toba, I asked you yesterday, and I'm going to ask you now on the radio: is Nigeria ready for the concept of independent candidature?
You see, that's a very tough one because if you look at it, you want to say that is when you are a politician, you are actually supposed to be in a group. Like the concept of political parties is for you to, gather as a group, form an ideology, present those ideologies to the electorate, and on the basis of that, you get elected. But we have seen that's not normally the situation in Nigeria. That is our parties, though we want to identify them with ideologies, but we have not seen so much of an ideological foundation. That is to the parties that we have. So in my estimation, I think if we have independent candidature, then it's not a bad thing.
Okay, if we have it, it's not a bad thing. But are we ripe for it, though? Can we deal with it? Because it's not a simple concept. I mean, when you say everybody is open to contest as long as you want to contest, that's going to be problems for INEC.
Yeah, that is, we've had, situations in the past where INEC has even made mistakes. That is, even with registered parties.
Exactly.
That is, you have parties not being put on the ballot, then they go to court and say, we were supposed to be contesting in this election and we didn't find our party logo that is on the ballot. And if you check, that is the balloting system in Nigeria, that is, if you check our ballots, you don't get to see the names of candidates. You just get to see the symbols of the parties and the names of the parties. So for that, it would be difficult for INEC to, actually put that into process. But if it becomes legislation and independent candidature is accepted, then INEC would have to adjust and then, maybe start switching away from using just the banners of parties and their names alone to, including the names of candidates on the ballot paper.
Is it practical, Toba, really, given how prone to mistakes and how very, what's the word now? I mean, the system that we have now, we've been battling. Exactly. So is this practical to say that it's a concept that's worked in other parts of the world and we should open ourselves to the possibility of this? Can we handle it when it comes down to it?
If we're already handling, party, that is party candidates, that is, if we're already doing that,
yes,
then this is also a practical approach also, because basically, like I said, what it is going to entail is that you're not just going to be having, party logos and then party names on the ballot. This time around, it is going to be, the party candidates or candidates. That is, let's use
the independent candidates. Yes.
No, not just the independent candidates. Even candidates sponsored by parties. Mm-hmm. Maybe they go in, that is with their party logo,
yes,
and then their names, so that we can have independent candidates also listed.
Okay.
That is without party affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
But if we just decide, okay, we're going to be using party names and party logos alone, then it is going to be difficult to include independent candidates on the ballot. But once we decide that, okay, yes, we put that is a party symbol, then the name of the candidate on the ballot,
yeah,
then it is going to become easier for us to actually, accommodate independent candidates.
I know that a lot of people that are calling for this independent candidature are calling for it because of something that I think you mentioned earlier when you first started, the dearth of ideology. The way that we have our parties now, and with the wave of defections that we see from one side to the other and the other side to the other, it seems like there isn't any ideology at all, which is why it's easy for people to just cross carpet and switch. And it seems like that's a Nigerian problem more than anything else. Can you explain to us, perhaps from your opinion, why our politicians sway so easily apart from the lack of ideology, thing that we all know? What could be the thing within our politics and the way that we play our politics here that makes it so easy for one person to decide on a whim, to switch parties and then claim it is for the good of their constituents and their people?
I think this boils down to the nature of Nigerian politics. That is the winner takes all approach. That is in politics in Nigeria.
Okay.
That is you get into office, you become governor. That is, you become governor or you become president. You have so much power of patronage at your disposal. You're the one who gets to appoint board chairman. You're the one who gets to appoint, people into statutory corporations. You're the one who gets to appoint, appoint the chief judge, send for confirmation. That is also at the federal level, so you get to appoint the federal justice also. You are, the common field, that is the common pulse, is also at your disposal. You get to disburse monies. You have some funds that you don't even have to account for, called the security votes. And you see, that immense power of patronage means people will always congregate around the centers of power. So if you are a governor and maybe at the federal level, you have a different party, from yours, there is that tendency for you to the party.
Hello, Toba. Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. It's back now. The network was terrible just a few seconds ago, but go ahead.
Okay. So, there's that propensity for our politicians to want to, go to places where they think that is you're going to have, that patronage, most especially the ones coming from the center. We've also talked about Nigeria's lopsided federalism also, where the federal government controls too much of the resources at the disposal of the nation. So you have state governors also wanting to attract, some part of that, resources available to the federal government, to their various states. They want, personnel from their state to get appointed into certain positions.
Yeah.
They want, federal patronage. They want federal legacies. They also want, projects that is from the federal government to be cited in their states. And they think that, okay, if we are a part of the center, this becomes easier. Now, the key reason why this is also possible is because there's no deterring legislation. Because basically, I have had INEC and our courts, actually advance the argument that during elections, that is, people actually vote for parties. So if, people have voted for a party, and then the candidate of the party has, got into office, in my opinion, I think it should be impossible. We should actually make it impossible for that candidate to take the mandate that has been handed over to a party and
another party.
Switch over to another party with it. I think it is.
It's interesting that you would mention that, because one of the things that I read out to the listener this morning was the bill that's being proposed on the floor of the House of Representatives to ensure that beyond state legislatures and local government legislatures, the executive, comprising presidents, governors, their deputies, lose their seats if they embark on such a journey, get elected on a political party, and then switch from that political party to another political party while they were elected on the platform of the other. Do you think that this is deterrent enough? Is this the kind of deterrent you're looking for to discourage?
That is exactly what I am actually advocating for. That is, if you're an executive that is elected, that is on the platform of a party, if you're going to switch over to another party, you have to leave their mandate alone. It's either we have, something like a by-election or a rerun of the election that brought you in, so that you go on the platform of the new party that you have decided to be in now, then the party that won the mandate can present a different candidate. Or maybe you should just lose the seat completely and allow, maybe another candidate chosen by the party that has been voted into power by the people to come take your position.
Interesting. We have to wrap up quickly, but I have to take your thoughts on what's going on in Zamfara State, Toba. The APC had already been disqualified by, I think, even the Supreme Court, to not be, eligible to contest. Now the governor, who won on the platform of the PDP, has switched to the APC that it was not eligible. And the PDP is saying they're going to take it to court. But what is the likelihood of that being resolved? And how do you see that playing out, Tama?
According to, the law and according to the Constitution, I think the only grounds on which you are actually allowed to switch parties if you're an elected executive is if there is a faction in your party.
Absolutely.
If your party has been
on the national level, for that matter.
That is on the national level.
Yes.
It has become factionalized at the national level. That is, you can actually, take that switch. But so far, I don't think that is the case, or that is the situation that is in the PDP. That is the which Governor Matawale was elected as governor. He has done this now, and I think it's a good thing that the PDP is actually taking this to court for judicial resolution. That is the best place where we can get an interpretation. Let's see what the governor's defense will be. Maybe there is a faction that is not open to those of us in the public. So we would be expecting that is defense team your advanced arguments in its own favor. But I think the law is clear that you can only make that switch if there is factionalization that is in your party.
I mean, in the newspapers this morning, there was an insinuation, I think it was on the Sun Online, that the Senate is planning to pass the electoral amendment bill into law this week. And the Senate president had suggested that it be done this week because next week they're going on recess and they'll be away for 6 weeks because of the backlash that might follow. This in line of fears and uproar for Nigerians that there might be a move to exempt the electronic transmission of results in the new amendment. Should we be concerned? Do you think there's a conspiracy here in the Senate, to really make this happen in the light of this allegation put forward by the Sun Online?
I do think there is a conspiracy, because basically I think the bill that was forwarded and that was considered, that is forwarded by INEC and that was considered by the National Assembly, included, that is the electronic transmission of results. INEC has already even started doing this. That is, it's already set trialing it.
Yes.
The last Edo State governorship election, that is, they trialed, the electronic transmission of results. And if you look at, the wish of Nigerians for more transparency, that is something that has also been a recurring theme.
Toba, please, you have to wrap up. I'm being I'm being asked to leave. So, all right. So let me just leave it that way. Thank you so much, Toba. As always, enjoy the rest of your day. Apologies for that. I actually thought Toba would have an opportunity to wrap up on his thought, but it is what it is, and we have to go. So thank you for being a part of the show. I hope you enjoy your week, and make sure to keep it locked on Splash 105.5. Ronnie is going to be here tomorrow for Tuesday's edition of the Morning Splash. My name is Charity Jerome. Good morning.
Splash FM 105.5.
We educate, that's why we are respected. We inform, that's why we are loved. More music, we are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash, splash, splash.
105.5.